Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Marina. I am a certified lash tech based in Toronto, Canada, and I like making lashing videos. And today we are going to be doing a wet lash look, which has been a very trendy look. I don't know if it's been trendy everywhere else in the world, but here in Toronto, Canada, I find that there is a very big demand for this set. So in the next few videos, you might be seeing this set more often, and I will continuously try to give my little tips when it comes to these types of sets. But before I get into it, like always guys, you know that I have a disclaimer that everything I'm sharing with you guys is completely subjective to the methods and techniques that work for me, and in no way, shape, or form am I saying that this is the only way to do lash extensions. And I urge everybody to continuously go out there and learn from different avenues so that you are continuously learning. So like I said before, we are doing a doll eye wet lash set. It is a very simple wet lash set. It is all closed spikes. We are using 0.05, lengths 8 to 13, D to double D curl, and the double D is the very outer corners of her eye, just so that when there's fallout, her eyes don't look like they're drooping. And this set has been very popular, like I said. And some things to note when you're trying to achieve this look, it's going to be all spikes. Now, a lot of people who like this set, I always try to use this set to upsell my classic sets, because obviously it is more expensive, and it's also something that is that you're able to use to upsell. So what I mean by this is, a lot of the times if people are new to lash extensions and they're not too sure what to get, and sometimes they might want to try a classic set first, I always just kind of like recommend this set maybe in the future, or if they ever want to try something that's a little bit more longer lasting than a classic set or a hybrid set, because technically this is charged as a volume set. The retention is going to be a lot higher than, let's say, a classic or hybrid. So if you want to keep it natural but you still want to have high retention, maybe you don't want to come back every 2 weeks, this is that set that I always recommend. You could also control how heavy and light the wet lash set can look, because obviously if you pick up a lot less spikes and keep the spikes relatively thin, the end result could kind of look like a classic set, but obviously with just high retention, because that spike is wrapping around the natural lash. And this is something that I always try to tell my clients, especially if they are very weary of, wanting to try a set like this, especially because it's not really well known either. Some people who are new to lash extensions, and what I mean by people, I mean clients, when you are new to a set like this, sometimes you don't even know what this kind of set is called. So obviously doing more clients and putting it on my Instagram page, I would always just get girls to send me pictures of what they like and what they want, and then kind of alter the set to make it look good for their eye shape, or I give my own types of recommendations. So yeah, that's something that what I really like about the set, and a little tip that you can use in order to upsell your work. And also just have your clients know that you're knowledgeable about your different sets and like what's trending and what's not. So yeah, this set, it turned out really nice. It turned out quite natural, to be honest with you. It honestly looks like mascara, maybe a little bit darker, but this is exactly what the client wanted. This client, actually, this is her first time using the wet lash look, so she was really happy with the outcome of them. One tip that I would try to keep in mind when you're trying to achieve this look is that before I would put primer or like a curing solution at the very end of the set to make the spikes more spiky and wet looking. However, I did find that this makes the set look a little bit more messy. So if you actually just grab the spike from the lash strip without putting any type of serum or primer on it, and making it less sticky, or not sticky, but like I guess wet spiky looking, because that's what the primer does, it actually tends to look more natural, just because it doesn't look as dense. However, if some girls really like a non-uniform type of set, then you can go ahead and finish it and adhere all the spikes using primer. But for this set, I wanted maybe a softer look, and I find that if you don't use the primer to adhere the spikes at the very end of the set, they don't look too dark and too like wet looking. If you guys didn't understand that, please leave a comment and I'll try to reiterate myself and re-explain. But basically, I just kind of take off the spikes from the strip lash and not the strip lash, from the strip of the lash tray, and I just apply it just like classic lashes. One thing though, I do always try to make sure is that, like I said before, because these are 0.05 spikes, you are still going to focus on trying to get that nice wraparound method. The wraparound method is what makes that retention super high. I always advocate for making your own fans and making your own spikes. I know that some vendors will sell them to you. Personally, I just don't find that the retention is as high. And that's just from my own experience using both. But again, to each their own. Some people don't mind using them. I have seen vendors who sell their own lash spikes. But to be honest with you guys, I think it's kind of a waste of money. You can just buy a normal lash tray and make your own spikes as you go. It's not hard at all. I have a video on it, so please check it out if you are curious as to how to make lash spikes. But to be honest with you, it's quite easy and self-explanatory. You literally just grab off of it. I've had sets before where I don't lash every single eyelash, because when you do that, it can be really dark looking. So if they're looking for something like super natural, but they wanted it to last long, maybe I will lash like about 75% of their eyelashes. This is so that there's more spaces between each of the lashes and it gives a more sparse look. This sparse look really emulates the look of mascara, doesn't look so dense. At the very end of this video, you will be able to see that even though she went with a wet lash look and it is supposed to be a more natural looking set, it is still quite dark. And this is just because she has a lot of eyelashes. So you can always opt out to do a doll eye wet lash look but hybrid, so you can add some classics in there so it's not as dense. But again, your client will have to come back for more refills, and if they're just not wanting to do so, then you can just explain to them as the fallout continues to happen in that third week, it'll start to look more natural. But again, remember guys, it's all about communicating with your client, asking them what they want, what they're trying to achieve, and if they don't mind if it looks a little bit dramatic right when they get it. Sometimes even when it's really dramatic, I've had clients that at first are a little shocked but then tend to really like it. So that's always an option and something that you can kind of let them know that you can offer this type of set. I've also done sets where instead of doing all spikes, I will do a spike, a classic lash, and then a fan, and then I continue alternating that. It still gives somewhat of a textured look, but because I'm not using different lengths in between each of those lengths, it still comes out looking very organized. I will try to get a set that I guess a client that likes those types of sets and film it for you guys so that you can see what I'm talking about when I say to incorporate fans. Now, the reason I incorporate fans is just to get a darker lash line, especially if the client doesn't have a lot of eyelashes, but they want the wet lash look. Sometimes I find that if they don't have a lot of eyelashes or they're very spread apart or really sparse, the wet lash look can look really weird just because there's too much of a gap, if that makes sense. So adding fans in there, here and there, can be very helpful to just giving them a little bit of a denser look on that lash line without looking like too weird. And when I mean to put on fans, guys, like maybe 5D at most 70, but I wouldn't go any like thicker than that, because then it starts to look a little bit too thick, especially if they're looking for something natural. So I hope some of these tips helped. I will make another video using the wet lash look because I've getting a lot of requests for this set. Stay tuned to see the very end. I appreciate everyone consistently watching my videos and coming back and supporting my channel. And if you guys have any questions, please leave a comment down below and I will try to answer as promptly and thoroughly as possible. And leave a like button if you found that this helped in any way. And I post every Sunday around 6:15. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week.
Hollywood